Hi there, my name is Colin Andrews Egbert with realestateinvestor.com, and this is a continuation to my article of rising foreclosure rates are great for real estate investors. Now, what I talked about in the previous video is what happens before it goes to the auction. Now, let's actually talk about what happens after it goes to the auction. Once it goes to sheriff's office for public auction, you're in a freewheeling open bidding process. Keep your budget in mind and don't bid more than you're willing in order to get the property to flip and sell, or you can be able to buy it and to hold. It is very easy in the bidding process to get a bid run up. Now, what I mean by that is that if you don't want to get caught up into the heat, never ever get emotional with a property. If you decide going to a sheriff auction, which I don't like to go, but some folks have been able to do really well at sheriff auctions. The problem is that the banks a lot of times will actually buy back the properties, so you're actually not bidding against other investors, but you're bidding against the banks. And I've heard that the average of up to 80% here in Ohio are actually bought back by the actual banks who the loan was originally with. And then at that point it becomes an REO, or real estate owned. At that point, it goes to a realtor who is assigned to it, and they list it on the MLS as a REO, or real estate owned, bank owned property. So let's continue on with the article. Finally, some random advice. When buying foreclosed homes, you can often get a significant discount if you can pay in cash. The seller is almost always looking to unload the property fast before depreciation and maintenance set in. As a lot of foreclosures are the result of demographic changes from rural areas to urban, or renovations due to natural disaster, expect the places to be run down. Hire a house inspector before you begin serious renovations or conversion to a rental property. So again, definitely, because these areas and the properties that you're going to be picking up, a lot of times they are distressed. A lot of times the sellers have moved out long before the actual auction took place. There's a very good chance that there could be problems. Now, what you don't see on the inside right up front doesn't mean that there's not issues. I've seen a lot of times, especially if you live in below zero temperatures, or below freezing temperatures sometimes, you have the problem of freezing and busting pipes. And that might not necessarily look, unless you know the right places to look, that it actually occurred. So you definitely want to hire a professional to be able to make sure that you are getting the very best knowledge and idea of what type of property that you're going to be getting. There's huge deals out there, and especially, as I mentioned in here, if you can pay cash, which means if you have it yourself, or a lot of times there's people that have money, that have big old 401, big old IRA accounts that you can use in a self-directed IRA, that with that you can be able to use their money because they might not have the time, and you can be able to pick up deals for cash using private money. Now let's continue on to the article. Now the conclusion says, foreclosure rates are skyrocketing, and this is merely the first wave of a credit crisis that's been looming for 3 years. As other credit products eventually adjust to realistic market conditions, the number of opportunities to do a short sale on foreclosed properties are going to increase. Being a savvy investor, that's something that you can capitalize on. And you can capitalize on it, but again, as I said, there are issues with the whole double closing, and I want to make sure that if you are being taught that you don't need private money, and you don't need to close yourself, and you don't need to look at lease option or lease purchase, which is essentially a glorified buy and hold strategy, that if you are all you need is short sale and you just can do a double closing, I am highly stressing and recommending that you look further into that. It's not completely out of the question. However, the common idea of a double closing, of being able to have a end buyer and then having the shorted property and then you making the money on the difference between the two HUDs, it's fast becoming a dinosaur, so to say, which is something that is non-existent in this property. So I know I'm probably going to upset a couple of gurus with that. However, the truth is the truth, and I understand, and I have my ears to the heartbeat of what's going on with real estate investing. So that is a little bit more about foreclosure investing after the auction process. I hope that this has been helpful, and don't forget, realestateinvestor.com is an awesome place to get this type of information and a whole bunch more, along with great positive investors who are there to help you out and some major doers. So check out realestateinvestor.com, and we'll talk to you soon.